Welcome to Inside North Dakota Politics with Nicholas Kwolek, Josh Meny, and political correspondent Maddie Beer-Temple.
Good Sunday morning to you, and thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Meny.
And I'm Maddie Beer-Temple. Nicholas is off today. We're almost at the end of the 67th legislative session.
But before we get there, we have a lot to go over.
Not the least of which being efforts by North Dakota's legislature to override 2 vetoes from the governor.
Yeah, a bill to ban transgender athletes from playing in public school sports met the 2/3 vote threshold needed in the House, but came up short in the Senate. The House voted 68 to 25 to pass the bill, while the Senate voted 28 to 19, just 4 votes shy of a 2/3 majority.
I'm deeply concerned, and I've expressed it today, that the governor's veto throws our girls and our families in North Dakota, which is a mass majority that do not believe in this gender ideology, under the bus.
But the legislature did have the votes to override a bill to ban statewide elected officials, namely the governor and state health officer, from enacting a statewide mask mandate. The bill still allows for cities, counties, schools, and businesses to make their own mask rules.
We make the policy, Mr. President. We're the lawmakers. And we don't circumvent the process by the stroke of the pen, stealing that individual liberty and freedom from our constituents.
The votes on those 2 bills wrapped up day 71 of the session. The legislature is expected to finish up this week. And another item related to the pandemic, the emergency declaration in place since March 13th of 2020.
But not for much longer. This Friday, Governor Doug Burgum says he will lift our state's COVID-19 emergency declaration. The governor says he's lifting it for several reasons. Quote, it recognizes the tremendous progress our state has made in protecting the most vulnerable. He goes on to say, quote, nearly 70% of North Dakotans aged 65 years and older have received at least 1 dose of the vaccine.
Though the declaration has been in place for more than a year now, a mandate requiring North Dakotans wear masks was only in place from November to January. Both the House and Senate recently voted to ban future statewide mask mandates. Nearly 1,500 North Dakotans have died with the coronavirus since the pandemic began. According to North Dakota's Officer Down Memorial page, 58 members of law enforcement have died in the line of duty in the state.
Now, many of those family members will have to worry about one less bill to pay for. Governor Doug Burgum signed into law a bill covering health insurance costs for family of law enforcement members who die in the line of duty. Several police officers attended the bill signing, as well as Mandy Holte, whose husband, Grand Forks police officer Cody Holte, was killed last May. The law requires the state retirement system to offer insurance at no cost to the surviving spouse and dependents of an emergency responder. That includes peace officers, correctional facility staff, EMS personnel, and firefighters.
Part of my swearing-in ceremonies for new officers is I always welcome the spouses pin the spouse or significant other pins their new officer, and I welcome them into the law enforcement family. I also tell them that I can't promise I'm going to keep your family member out of harm's way, but what I can promise is they'll be well-led, well-trained, well-equipped, and we will take care of that family no matter what.
And the law applies retroactively, so coverage will be offered to those who had a family member die as late as 2010. Under a bill that passed the legislature, North Dakota law enforcement might soon not be allowed to help investigate or enforce federal gun law.
However, that's only if the federal law in question is more restrictive than state law. In essence, the bill aims to dodge gun regulations being considered by Congress that state lawmakers fear would infringe on the Second Amendment if enacted. Although some police testified the bill would prevent local and federal agents from working together, bill supporters say it includes exceptions that still allow for cooperation. But whether the legislature should pass a bill based on the potential of overreaching federal gun law was a point of contention during debate.
If we want to sit here and talk about fantasy bills that'll never pass the House, much less the Senate of the United States, as the reason for what we're doing, we're just living in fear.
The comment fantasy bill was used with regard to H.R. 127. Is it fantasy? It's hard to say. Would this pass? with 60 votes in the Senate? No, never. Does our current president and Congress very, very much want significant gun restrictions? Absolutely. They've explicitly said so.
The bill will next head to Governor Doug Burgum's desk. Republican legislatures in other states are supporting similar measures too, amid Democratic support nationally for gun control. The North Dakota Farmers Union has been a vocal advocate for increased funding for value-added ag projects.
That's right. Last week, the North Dakota State Legislature passed 2 bills providing a total of $40 million in support of value-added agriculture projects.
I think that this program is really going to be a game changer for value-added development in the state. And with that comes higher margins for North Dakota's farmers and ranchers. Comes new opportunities to diversify on the farm, but also opportunities to diversify our local economies to drive economic growth.
The funding will promote development of soybean crush facilities, new ethanol plants, feed mills, hemp processors, and more. House Bill 1475 and Senate Bill 2230 now head to the governor's desk for his signature. Still to come, while there's been support for a tax holiday for coal plants, there's also been some opposition. I'll talk with Senator Merrill Pepcorn on how he voted and why. That's next on Inside North Dakota Politics.
Menards has what you need for an outdoor update. Make your lawn stand out with Schultz grass seed. 3-pound bags can cover up to 2,000 square feet. Get a bag of sun and shade, shady, hardy, or high traffic lawn grass seed for $6.99 after 11% rebate. Add the final look to your landscaping with Master Gardener Lawn Edging. All lawn edging is 11% off now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Because of this, we built Escape with Ford Copilot 360. Because of this, we built Ford Edge with intelligent all-wheel drive. Because of this, we built Ford EcoSport to give you traction when and where you need it. And because Ford SUVs are built for this, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. Now, for a limited time, get up to $6,800 total savings on an Edge, only at your Northland Ford dealers.
19% of high school students are electronically bullied each year.
Cyberbullying can happen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Children who are cyberbullied are more likely to be unwilling to attend school and have lower self-esteem.
30% of kids who are cyberbullied have thought about suicide.
It only takes one to make a difference. Not in our town.
Part of the KX News Putting North Dakota First community outreach, brought to you by McDonald's. Post your employment opportunities now on KXNet Jobs, all the job boards that matter for one low price. Northwest Tire is hiring in multiple locations. Current openings include outside sales, accounting, and tech positions. Check out this job and more at kxnetjobs.com.
I'm sorry I couldn't save you.
You needed a hero, so you became one.
Sometimes getting back to normal might just mean starting fresh.
Walker.
Thursdays at 7 on the Dakota CW.
Welcome back to Inside North Dakota Politics on KX.
Senator Merrill Pepcorn, a Democrat representing District 44, joins us from Fargo. Senator Pepcorn, thanks for being here.
Josh, glad to be here. I'm going to start off with the fact that I'm a member of the Democratic Nonpartisan League Party. Very proud of those nonpartisan league roots, that party was established back in the 19-teens and eventually merged with the Democratic Party, and it's a proud part of our history. But nonetheless, I'm happy to be here, whatever the party may be, to talk with you a little bit.
Anytime there's an opportunity for you to explain the Dem-NPL, we welcome that.
Well, especially when we talk about Dem-NPL, because a lot of people don't know NPL stands for Nonpartisan League, but nonetheless, we're here fighting for the people, and that's our main job here in the legislature.
All right. Well, so the Senate approved a bill to give lignite coal power facilities a 5-year tax holiday.
Correct.
Instead, that tax would go towards lignite research. But you oppose this bill. Why?
Let me go back just a little bit and the origins of the lignite coal industry in North Dakota, which was ushered into the state when Democratic Nonpartisan League Governor Art Link was the head of the state, was governor. And he ushered it in a very mindful manner. insisting that the land be reclaimed once this new resource that we have just discovered we're going to be able to turn it into energy. He was all for it, but also then made provisions for the companies to reclaim that land, which now they, of course, are very proud of doing. So there it is. And it wasn't that long ago. We haven't had, lignite as a resource. It's always been underground, but we haven't been converting it to electricity, to energy forever. So now that it got up and running, it has served the state extremely well. We've been able to tax the industry, to export the industry, export the electricity that's generated at the Coal Creek Station, for example, to other states who have paid the companies for the electricity, who've paid a decent tax to us here in North Dakota. Now, generally, all across the nation, coal is falling into disfavor. And so just generally speaking, and I'll talk a little bit more in detail in a bit if we have time, but just generally speaking, coal is falling into disfavor among the public, among the consumers. And people who have traditionally purchased our coal-fired electricity are not so anxious to do that anymore. And I'm concerned about the future if we keep investing in coal without looking at other forms of energy as well.
But senators who support this bill say that's exactly the purpose of the tax holiday, is to make lignite electricity, lignite-powered electricity, more competitive in what they call distorted markets.
Well, that is an argument too. And I know one of the things they're going to do with this tax holiday, okay, it's a 5-year exemption from the extraction tax on coal. That's going to amount to about $100 million. And what is going to happen with some of that money, I asked the head of one of the coal industry organizations, what are you going to do with this money that normally would go to the state in the form of a tax? You're going to have it now to spend. Are you going to spend it on salaries? Are you going to spend it on equipment upgrades? What are you going to spend it on? And he just explained it as, well, it's fungible. Now, I didn't know what fungible meant. Now, fungible means, we can use it here and we can use it there. And to me, it means we can use it wherever we want, really, without telling you what we're going to do with it. But what part of it is going to do is to subsidize. We'll subsidize the price of our coal to make it more competitive when they offer it to bid into these power systems of which we are members. Other states and other energies are cheaper than what we're able to offer. One of the reasons that people aren't so anxious to buy it. We're going to use our state money to subsidize the price of our coal-fired energy to make it more acceptable on that open market that we participate in. So I've got, like it or not, to me, that is a subsidy. That's state-supported energy.
So if not lignite, what is the future energy for North Dakota?
Well, that's a good question. I will tell you also that a lot of the future of lignite depends on the argument that we are going to be able to create cleaner coal. We're going to be able to participate in carbon sequestration. There have been some experiments with it. There has been some progress in, CO2 storage and perhaps potential uses, but largely it is unproven. And we are investing hundreds of millions of dollars. Not only do we have this $100 million tax holiday for the industry, but we are also investing another $200, $300, $400 million. It could be $500 million once all is said and done from this legislative session, investing in it. I'm just afraid that even if we do produce, at the best possible result, we would produce a clean coal, a carbon-free coal-fired energy. We still then have to convince the customer that yes, we use coal to produce it, but it's clean and you'll like it, so please buy it from us anyway.
So there's no guarantee?
There's no guarantee. And I would like to see us looking to the future and at least invest part of this in renewables, wind, solar. Nuclear is not off the table right now, although me personally, I'm not a big fan of it, and a lot of people aren't because, it has its problems too. But without shutting down the coal mines like right now, without being aware of the people who work in these coal mines and the power plants. We have to contemplate their futures too, as we also look to invest in renewables, because that's what people want. We have to give them the goods.
All right, Senator Merrill Pepcorn of the Democratic Nonpartisan League, thank you for being here. Stay tuned. Plenty more inside North Dakota politics after the break.
Here you go. Thanks. No problem.
You guys, stop yelling.
It's no interest for 5 years at Ike Eating Furniture World. Your bank can't do it. Your credit card won't do it. But Ike Eating Furniture World will. No interest charges in 2022, 2023, 2024, not even in 2025. It's no interest for 5 years. Furnish every room with beautiful new furniture. Buy new flooring. Enjoy your best night's sleep on a new Tempur-Pedic or Sealy mattress. And pay no interest for 5 years. But hurry, it won't last long. No interest for 5 years. For a limited time only at Ike Eating Furniture World.
Explore your next career opportunity virtually. It's just a click away. Join the KXNet Virtual Job Fair on April 27th and 28th. This 2-day online hiring event allows you to connect with thousands of potential employers. Apply now and find open positions instantly. Go to kxnetjobs.com to make the most of your career. Register today and don't let this career opportunity pass you by. KXNet Virtual Job Fair, April 27th and 28th.
Chevy is America's fastest growing full-line brand, and people are taking it everywhere. Taking Trailblazer outdoors, confidently taking on new places with Equinox, and taking on more with Silverado. Whatever you do, there's a perfect Chevy to take you anywhere. Find your perfect Chevy and get up to 17% of MSRP cash back on select 2021 models. That's over $5,400 cash back on this Equinox. Visit westdakotachevy.com.
Have a nice day.
I'm going to. And you've dealt with that, right?
Welcome back to Inside North Dakota Politics on KX.
Welcome back. I'm joined now by Senate Majority Leader Rich Wardner. Senator, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, and I'm glad to be here.
Great. And now, nearing the end of the legislative session, what would you say have been some of the most impactful bills that have been passed?
Well, there's no question. There's 3 bills that we're dealing with the Legacy Fund. We have one that works with the investment of the principal, and the money would be invested just like the other fund people do it, and it would be invested in North Dakota, though. So I think that's an important one, that we're going to try to put some of that money to work in North Dakota. The second one was the bonding bill. The bonding bill uses earnings from the Legacy Fund to pay the bonds off. But we are taking care of projects that we're going to do anyway a lot sooner. For example, like the Fargo diversion, like the Minot flood control, and then some road money in there. Those are things we were going to do. And right now, the cost of servicing bonds is cheap, and we can get the projects funded probably cheaper by bonding than waiting until we have the cash. And then the third one is still on the shelf yet. We're still working on it, and that's the streams. That means going forward, we're going to have the earnings from the legacy go into certain categories, and we call those streams, and how it's going to be utilized in the future. And we're working on that right now.
Gotcha. And I know you've mentioned people have asked, when are we going to use the Legacy Fund money? So this is going to, those bills are going to utilize that money.
That's correct. And as time goes on, they will be massaged and they will be improved on, and they're going to make a big impact on North Dakota. And I see we're going to have improved infrastructure, and eventually we will end up with lower taxes, and I'm looking at lower property taxes.
Gotcha. And now, nearing the end of the session, I understand you are trying to save some days to potentially meet in the future. How many days are you hoping to save, and how will those days be used?
Well, first of all, I was hoping to save 7, but we're not going to make it. We would have to have been done tomorrow. As it turns out, we're going to go into next week, and I think we'll be glad to get out of there with 5. And how would we use them? We feel that we have $1 billion of federal money that we do not know how to appropriate it because we don't have the guidelines from the federal government. So what we would do is we'd have our appropriations committee meet in the interim, and then we would schedule a session, a special session. Probably it could be in August, it could be in September, in which we would appropriate those monies and bring the whole Legislative Assembly back in and take care of it.
Great. And what are the priorities still left on the plate for this session? We know the governor signed the bonding bill. What's left that you would really like to see make it through?
Well, we have the OMB bill, which has a lot of different things in it. In it has some road money for townships. We're looking at career and tech education. I think that's really an important thing for the state of North Dakota, that we put and invest some money into career and tech facilities around the state. It will change education. It will change how we develop our workforce. I just think there's all kinds of pluses. So those are a couple of things that are out there, plus all the other appropriations bills, K through 12 and human services being 2 that are huge.
Right, definitely a lot of work to be doing in the next couple of days.
Absolutely. We hope it's only a couple of days, but we're focused now on getting it completed.
Gotcha. And switching gears a little bit, there's been a lot of changes this session because of COVID precautions. What are some of those changes that you might like to see stick around for another session that have kind of helped the assembly run?
Well, there's no question we want to continue on with our video conferencing of our committees, of our sessions on the floor, which we've done before. But it has really been a great thing that people can testify in a committee and not have to be here. And there's a lot of times it's weather, roads, or whatever it may be, but we're going to get good testimony in our committees when we're having hearings on different bills and issues going forward. I think that's a game changer. It really is a game changer this time. We are going to finish up this session just like any other session, and if it hadn't have been for video conferencing, we wouldn't have been able to do it.
Gotcha. And Senator, can we expect you to be around for next session?
That remains to be determined.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Senator Warner. Really appreciate your time today. And up next, we'll take a look at a bill putting free speech protections on college campuses.
When a Sunday afternoon stood between Hideki Matsuyama and the history books, he reached for his Srixon driver and became a living legend. Golf's future doesn't look like its past, and Srixon Performance can take you there. Srixon, built for distance.
Hello, I'm Denise Osmond with the North Dakota Department of Transportation. I'm in charge of finding new employees to support our mission to safely move people and goods. We have many great opportunities right now, from equipment operators to construction technicians to supervisor and team lead positions. We have a spot for you all across the state of North Dakota at NDDOT. Both full-time and temporary positions are available. Reach out to us during the KXNet Jobs Virtual Career Fair.
Chevy is America's fastest growing full-line brand, and people are taking it everywhere. Taking Trailblazer outdoors, confidently taking on new places with Equinox, and taking on more with Silverado. Whatever you do, there's a perfect Chevy to take you anywhere. Find your perfect Chevy and get up to 17% of MSRP cash back on select 2021 Chevy SUV models, or get a $4,400 cash allowance on all 2021 Silverado 1500 Crew Cab pickups. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
At American, we understand that you want to handle finances on your time, whether that means checking retirement balances while balancing life, filing an insurance claim as your cattle graze on someone else's land, or depositing money during your free fall, 12,000 feet in the air. No matter where you are or what you're doing, as crazy as it may be, American is there for you. With advisors at your fingertips, anytime, anywhere. American. Banking, trust, and insurance.
This is RTX Zipcore, people. It's the meanest, baddest blade wedge we've ever made. And it's all thanks to Zipcore. Spin, distance, feel, control. Better, better, better. Woo! The RTX Zipcore from Cleveland Golf.
Welcome back to Inside North Dakota Politics on KX.
Governor Doug Burgum recently signed into law a bill dealing with free speech protections on college campuses. Lawmakers who voted for it say it's a win for the First Amendment, but the state's university system says it's unnecessary.
But with the governor's signature, a new free speech policy governing the state's 11 public colleges and universities is now law.
North Dakota is ahead of the curve when compared to a vast majority of states.
The passage of House Bill 1503 is a win for those at the Foundation for Individual Rights and Education, which lobbies state legislatures to enact college free speech policies.
But no bill is the magic bullet that cures all of these problems. So we can't expect a utopia, but this is a major leap forward.
Among the many changes the bill makes, it says schools can't limit speech to certain areas of campus known as free speech zones, can't deny activity fee funding to a student group based on their viewpoint, or prohibit guest speakers based on their views or content of the speech. But those at the North Dakota university system say those things weren't happening anyway.
There were no reports of violations of First Amendment rights, freedom of speech, freedom of expression at any of our institutions for the last 12 years.
Johnson says no campuses have free speech zones either, but Cohn says preventing problems and correcting bad policy is important.
While that wasn't addressing a current problem in North Dakota, getting the law right is important, and keeping it right for the future is important too.
Johnson says now that it's law, the State Board of Higher Education can no longer adjust policy as needed, but will have to wait for the legislature to convene. She says the universities are working to adjust policy to be in compliance with the new law.
And I just wish to convey our willingness, our compliance with that. You know, the outcome was not in our favor, but we're certainly willing to adjust to those restrictions.
The bill officially takes effect on August 1st, and prior to the governor signing the bill, it passed 65 to 29 in the House and 35 to 12 in the Senate. And that's all the time we have for today.
Yeah, be sure to join us next week as we look back on the 67th legislative session when we go inside North Dakota politics. See you then.